Hey everyone, how are you doing? Welcome to Monday's edition of A Flawed Man of God. I am your host, Stuart Davis, a nobody. I'm a deacon at a small church just outside of Richmond, Virginia. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a biblical scholar. I haven't been to seminary. I'm not trying to get you to join my congregation or to donate to any special cause. What I'm here to do is talk about God, talking about my relationship with the Lord, give you some insight in what I feel like is the typical or atypical Christian outlook and mindset, thoughts and feelings as I go throughout the day, trying to work through different topics and issues that pop up in my life or in world events, in current events, and local events, wherever. Just trying to give my insights from a Christian perspective. If you are interested in starting a relationship with Christ, but don't necessarily feel comfortable yet with going to church or just kind of want to see what things are like, welcome to the program. You are more than welcome. In fact, I highly encourage you to continue tuning in. Obviously, um, hopefully, you're going to get some good information, some good exposure to what it's like, to what Christianity's like, what the mindset behind it is, and what hopefully is a true representation of what God wants us to be as followers of His Word and His expectations of us. But again, um, like the program says, or like the channel name is Flawed Man. I'm flawed, and I am not going to shrink from that. I have my problems, and that's one of those things that I hope that people get when out of what they search for when they look at Christianity. That it is a place for people who understand that they make mistakes throughout the day, throughout their lives, and that through Christ we are given salvation. Now, if you just if you are a Christian and you're very comfortable in your faith and you just like hearing people talk about Christianity, this show is also for you. And I would love for you to continue tuning in. Either way, no matter what your perspective is, believer, non-believer, and just interested, whatever. Please, by all means, if you like what you're hearing, and comment, be part of the chat, like the channel, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Facebook, join my Facebook group, and I think I'm on Rumble as well. A Flawed Man of God. It's right across the board. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. It's easy to find. One stop shop. And hopefully tune in for more content. Just keep looking out. I stream every night around 8-ish, and sometimes I do it on my own. I'm solo tonight. We'll be talking about the Bible, going through Numbers right now, and then other times I bring on guests. Tomorrow's guest is going to be Eric Rollon. He is my bi-weekly, twice a week, twice every other week uh, guest on Tuesday nights. He will be here, and we just talk about different topics as it strikes us. We don't necessarily plan it out too much. If something hits the local news, if one of us just feels an inkling on a subject that we want to talk about, that's what we'll hit. And it's normally about a 2 hour stream there, so you'll get a lot of good content between two men just trying to explain their faith and work through a lot of the troubles and a lot of the different issues that pop up within Christianity. Um, Thursday night, this coming Thursday night, we have a doctor coming on to talk about epigenetics and how it relates to Christianity, what it means for Christianity. Because how is it was explained to me was that epigenetics is tearing down a lot of the beliefs of Darwinism or neo-Darwinism and the theories behind natural selection and what that means for society, for species as a whole across the world, and possibly finding some roots in biblical explanations of kind of some of the things that God tells tells us through in the Bible. Epigenetics is kind of backing it up. So he's going to be on Thursday night. That's going to be an 8 o'clock. That's going to be an 8 o'clock stream, and we'll go as long as we need to. It's probably going to be a short stream, but we're going to break it into two pieces. So you're going to see another stream probably the following week. But that's Dr. Vaughn Mancha, and he'll be on to talk about that. So tonight, what do we have in store for you tonight? Tonight we are talking about numbers, and we have just gotten back into some good narrative, not necessarily positive or wholesome narrative. Everything in the Bible is teaching us a lesson, and what we have experienced now is God has finished giving instructions on how the Israelite society is supposed to operate, giving it rules, giving it guidelines, giving expectations, giving punishment, or giving the expectation of punishment when those rules and guidelines aren't followed. And what God's really doing is trying to establish something for the Israelites to build their culture and society around in a wholesome and successful way. But what we're going to find out, what we've seen in the past, is the Israelites don't always want to do things that way, which makes them relate. And this is why so much of the Old Testament is relatable. The Israelites don't want to listen. It's easy when you give them specific instructions, just kind of like us. If something is very dire and something is very immediate, and we're looking at a very concrete sets of punishment, but the way to get around it is to listen to very specific instructions. We tend to be better at it. Where we slip is oftentimes where the Israelites slip is, hey, you need to continue to exhibit specific behavior, and they don't. As a whole, not to say every single one of them was like that, but as a whole, the Israelites are very obstinate. What is that? The defiant disorder that kids have. That's what the Israelites seem to have when it comes to God. And the person bearing the brunt of this is Moses. Moses is a guy who's just trying to do what's asked of him. He doesn't. When we first met him, not when we first met him, but when he first came back to Egypt to deliver the Israelites out of Egypt, we're looking at a man who doesn't have a whole lot of confidence in himself. He doesn't really feel like he's the right man for the job, but because God told him to, very firmly, because Moses tried to convince God that he wasn't the right guy for it. Moses, he's not in a place where he feels comfortable, and but he does have a great relationship with God, and we see that when he goes up on Mount Sinai. You have God and him communing up on the mountain there, establishing the 10 Commandments, and then Moses comes down and sees all of his people acting absolutely foolish, and he has to regulate. And it doesn't take long after that settles and they build the Ark of the Covenant. They do the maiden sacrifices to the Ark for basically the initial sin offerings for the Israelites as a whole, and they set out. The discontent continues to come up. He's always boiling up, and what we've seen is Moses in the last passages last couple of chapters that we just went through. Moses basically saying, "I've had enough of the Israelites. Please, if you love me, God, we've had some good times, and I appreciate it. I know that I mean something to you. So prove it by killing me, because I can't stand dealing with these Israelites anymore." And that's how bad of a people that that's how much of a nuisance that they've become, and how petulant they are. Is that you have the man who has killed, he's killed Egyptians, and been a harbinger for God to help these people, get these people deliver these people from slavery, perform these great miracles on behalf of God, and all they do is complain and whine. And then sometimes say, well, things were really a whole lot better when we were in Egypt. How does that make any sense? And you see Moses probably sitting there going, why did we even go through this? What I should have done is when God said, I'm just going to start all over with you, I should have just said, you know what, God, that's a great idea. Let's do that. But he didn't. So what we're going to talk about tonight is even more discontent with the Israelites. And this one's going to hit a little closer to home. I'm sure that this will end well for all the people complaining. So if you're new to the program, I use Bible Gateway. This is the source that I'm going to be using. Bible Gateway is probably the best source to mobile source for um, pulling scripture and reading it. If you don't have a Bible handy, it's better than any app I've used. You just pull the website up in Safari or Chrome or whatever you're using on your smartphone or your desktop. It's right there. You have all the different translations there, and it's just a great resource. I highly recommend it. Recommend it so much I use it on the live stream because it helps us go through this. Now, picking up chapter 12, Miriam and Aaron oppress Moses. Now, if you don't know who Miriam is Moses' sister, and Aaron is his brother. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having my back, because at least I can count on family, right? Right? I got God. God's got my back. I really don't need anything else. But God's a deity, right? He's very difficult to relate to. I need like peers, and so at least I've got my family to have my back, right? I'm not saying all Israelites are the same, but it really seems sometimes like all Israelites are the same. Miriam and Aaron oppose Moses, chapter 12. Miriam and Aaron began to talk against Moses because of his Cushite wife. Okay, you don't like your in-law, for he had married a Cushite. Has the Lord spoken only through Moses, they asked? Hasn't he also spoken through us? And the Lord heard this, because of course he did. Because sometimes you say things and you don't think it through, like you're in the heat. I don't know if this was something that was said just because they were getting jealous of him or what. Very poorly thought through. Especially Aaron. He goes in there and communes with God. I mean, this is going to be a regular occurrence that he's going through. And God's going to talk to me about this and be like, Aaron, look, Moses is the leader. You know this. You've been with him since the beginning. What in the world are you thinking? And so this verse 3 is hilarious because Moses is widely accepted to be the author of the first 5 books of the Bible, the Pentateuch, and that includes Numbers. So Miriam and Aaron began to talk bad about Moses. The Lord hears it. Now in verse 3 we hear, now Moses was a very humble man, more humble than anyone else on the face of the earth. More humble than anyone else on the face of the earth, says the man writing the book describing himself. No one is more humble than I. Laying it on a little thick, Moses. Now at once the Lord said to Moses, Aaron, and Miriam, come out to the tent of meeting, all 3 of you. Hey kids, come on out here. I want to have a discussion with you. So the 3 of them went out. Then the Lord came down in a pillar of cloud. He stood at the entrance to the tent and summoned Aaron and Miriam. You 2. When the 2 of them stepped forward, he said, listen to my words. When there is a prophet among you, I, the Lord, reveal myself to them in visions. I speak to them in dreams. But this is not true of my servant Moses. He is faithful in all my house. With him I speak face to face, clearly, and not in riddles. He sees the form of the Lord. Then why then were you not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? Meaning, have you lost your damn mind? Look, we've already seen some prophets. We haven't gotten into the big ones yet in the Bible. And we've got Joseph with the dreams, and he's able to interpret them pretty clearly. But God says, no, we're past all of this. Moses is my boy. I talk to him almost like I would talk to a peer, like a favored son, like a guy, like Moses is the man that God's just unloading some of his burdens off of, and giving him his plans and telling him these things. Again, Moses is such an amazing person in the Bible. I mean, a lot of us as Christians, you see us talking about Paul and Peter and, the disciples following Christ and everything. But before all them, being able to hang out with Jesus, well, Paul did, but, Peter and the disciples got to hang out with Jesus and see a lot of these miracles firsthand. Before all of that, you had Moses. And the burden on Moses' shoulders is so great. And God's respect for him is so good It's amazing. I mean, how it's amazing. And God says, and God makes this very clear. I'm bringing you brother, you siblings together because two of y'all are ganging up on the first one when y'all should all be a team. I tell this to my kids from time to time when they get on each other. It's like, look, we're a team. We succeed together, we fail together, and we help each other up when we're down, and we expect to be helped up by the others when we're down. This is what should be happening, but this is not what's happening. And Miriam and Aaron are old enough to know better. They're not talking about kids acting like this. We're talking about grown ass adults. And they're not doing it. They're just not doing it. So God calls them right, calls them to the carpet, calls them to the tabernacle. And here's your problem. It's like, you're not afraid? You know what Moses is doing. You know exactly why he speaks for me, because this is how I commune with him. And you're not afraid that once you start to sow discontent and talk about and try to stab him in the back, more speaking ill of him behind his back, you think that that's not going to have any consequences? You think you're just going to get away with it? Let's see. Verse 9. The anger of the Lord burned against them, and he left them. And when the cloud lifted from above the tent, Miriam's skin was leprous. It had become as white as snow. Not fair white, like Snow White. No, leprosy white. Aaron turned towards her and saw that she had a defiling skin disease. And he said to Moses, please, my Lord, I ask you not to hold against us the sin we have so foolishly committed. Yet now you're sorry. Do not let her be like a stillborn infant coming from its mother's womb with its flesh half eaten away. So Moses cried to the Lord, God, please, God, heal her. Not Moses, the consummate nice guy. The Lord said to Moses, if her father had spit in her face, would she not have been in disgrace for 7 days? Confine her outside the camp for 7 days. After that, she could be brought back. So Miriam was confined outside the camp for 7 days, and the people did not move on until she was brought back. After that, the people left Hazeroth and encamped in the desert of Paran. Well, yeah, that's one way to get to a lady if she's thinking too highly of herself, if she's a little conceited. Attack the skin, right? Give her a skin disease. May hit her vanity right there, and it is. Whew. Why didn't Aaron get anything? Like, again, this. Why isn't Aaron getting any significant punishment here? Or maybe God told Aaron, your ass whooping is coming the next time you're inside. You're in the tabernacle. Miriam's not allowed in there, right? So here you go. But the men are supposed to be held to this higher standard, right? Aaron's clearly not meeting. Aaron has screwed up a bunch, right? And not in a, and it doesn't. You never see how sorry he is, really. I'm sure he's got holding some bitterness to God because God killed both of his sons, but his sons, also adults, supposed to know what they're doing, did something they weren't supposed to. They were clearly told not to do, and so they got punished in front of everybody. Exploring Canaan. The Lord said to Moses, send some men to explore the land of Canaan, which I am giving to the Israelites. From each ancestral tribe, send one of its leaders. So at the Lord's command, Moses sent them out from the desert of Paran. All of them were leaders of the Israelites, and these are their names. Of Reuben, Shemuel. I'm not going to go through this too in depth. From Simeon, Shaphat, whatever. From Judah, Caleb. Remember that name. Issachar, Egal. Ephraim, Hosea. From Benjamin, Palti. From Zebulun, Gadiel. From Manasseh, Gadi. From Dan, Amiel. From Asher, Sether. From Naphtali, Nabi. From Gad, Gil. It's the most embarrassing part of all this read through is me trying to get these names right. These are the names of the men Moses sent to explore the land. Moses gave Hosea, son of Nun, the name Joshua. Joshua, son of Nun. Joshua's the boy. So Joshua and Caleb, those are the guys. Those are the two I want you to focus on. When Moses sent them to explore Canaan, he said, "Go up through the Negev and up on into hill country. See what the land is like, and whether the people who live there are strong or weak, few or many. What kind of land do they live in? Is it good or bad? What kind of towns do they live in? Are they unwalled or fortified? How is the soil? Is it fertile or poor? Are there trees in it or not? Do your best to bring back some of the fruit of the land." It was the season for the first ripe grapes. So you might be thinking, why is he sending him out to do this? This is really easy, because I thought that the Israelites wandered the desert for 40 years. It feels like it's just been like a few days. There's more to that story, and we're going to find out why. What ended up being a matter of days, which should have taken a matter of days or weeks to complete this trek to Canaan, turned into a 40-year slog. And they should, and they're showing a little bit of doubt here by saying, "Hey, we need to scout ahead because we need to know what the land is like." Well, God's already said it's a land flowing with milk and honey. So they went up and explored the land from the desert of Zin as far as Rehob toward Lebo Hamath. They went up through the Negev and came down to Hebron, where Ahiman, Shishai, frustrating, folks, and Talmai, the descendants of Anak, lived. Hebron had been built 7 years before Zoan in Egypt. When they reached the valley of Eshcol, they cut off a branch bearing a single cluster of grapes. 2 of them carried it on a pole between them, along with some pomegranates and figs. That place was called the Valley of Eshcol because of the cluster of grapes that Israel's cut off there. At the end of 40 days, they returned from exploring the land. Wonder how that went. Seems pretty uneventful. Hey, we just grabbed some stuff. They came back to Moses and Aaron and the whole Israelite community at Kadesh in the desert of Paran. There they reported to them and to the whole assembly and showed them the fruit of the land. They gave Moses this account. "We went to the land which you sent to us, and it does flow with milk and honey. Here is its fruit. But the people who live there are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. We even saw descendants of Anak there. The Amalekites live in the Negev. The Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites live in the hill country, and the Canaanites live near the sea and along the Jordan." Then Caleb silenced them. So they're saying, all right, we saw the land, and it's indeed very good. We're very happy with what we see. It looks like a place we'd like to live, except for the current inhabitants, which they live in fortified cities and very large, and the descendants of Anak there. Now, if you recall what we talked about with Eric Rollon when he first came on, and that was talking about the Nephilim, there are several. There are a lot of people who believe that this is pointing towards Nephilim, great giant people that can be pretty intimidating. And so, if that's the case, that's intimidating the scouts. And they're like, "Look, these guys are huge. These guys are giants. We don't want to fight them." And we're going to see more from that already. But again, that's a theory, and a theory that, again, lots of people have. But even if they're not, what we're seeing is whatever's going on down there. Maybe it's just the fact that they're big cities and they're very well fortified. It's got the people losing heart. The scouts are losing heart. So they were like, "Hey, this is really nice, but it's got a lot of bad people in there that are really big." Then Caleb, I told you, silenced the people before Moses and said, "We should go up and take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it." Good old Caleb. But the men who'd gone up with him said, "We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are." And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land they had explored. They said, "The land we explored devours those living in it. All the people we saw there are of great size. We saw the Nephilim. We saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak come from the Nephilim. We seemed like grasshoppers in our own eyes, and we looked the same to them." So monsters, basically. Huge giants getting ready to just want to pound us to dust, smelling blood of Jacob, Israelite men. It's a bad joke. It's Monday, guys. So they don't want to go. They don't want to go. Caleb's full of faith and said, "Hey, look, we can do this. We crushed. We didn't even need to do anything other than cross a seabed that God made a path for us in. All we had to do was cross it. And then when the Egyptians tried to follow us, God just closed it up and swallowed them whole, just like that. What's he going to do? He's already said he's going to kick the Canaanites out, so you already know what's going to happen. Caleb's got some faith. Chapter 14. The people rebel. Good job, Israel. That night, all the members of the community raised their voices and wept aloud. Here comes the gnashing of teeth, everybody. All the Israelites grumbled against Moses and Aaron, and the whole assembly said to them, "If only we had died in Egypt." Told you that. "Or in this wilderness. Why is the Lord bringing us to this land only to let us fall by the sword? Our wives and children will be taken as plunder. Wouldn't it be better for us to go back to Egypt?" And they said to each other, "We should choose a leader and go back to Egypt." All right. Let's put this into perspective. You are descendants of a genealogical line that has believed for 400 years, 400 plus years, probably at this point closer to 500 years, that God has chosen you guys, this tribe specifically, that they are going to be special, and that God is going to look out for them, and He is going to establish a covenant with them, right? And He tells you, you're going to be in bondage for 400 years, and I'm going to deliver you. So after 400 years, a man comes saying he is coming from God to deliver them. And what he does is perform a series of miracles, or a series of signs, actually. Not really so much miracles, but a series of signs of great that require great power, that God kind of flexing his muscles just a wee bit, right? This man can snap the universe into existence. But he's making these demonstrations of his power. And finally, and he says exactly what's going to happen. So what exactly what God says is going to happen happens. So you're getting delivered out of slavery, where you've been enslaved and oppressed for 400 years. You're leaving, and the people are giving you their valuables to get out of town. And so you're leaving with all your family, and you're all heading out there. And so the people you're leaving finally realize their anger gets the better of them. They come out to crush you. So again, God says, "It's okay. I got this." People are saying, "Oh no, they're going to kill us. They're going to kill us." God says, "I got this." Moses, part that sea. Moses parts the sea. They walk through it. Egyptians try to follow. Boom. Walls come down. Walls of water come down. They're gone. They're toast. All right. They're out in the wilderness. We're hungry. Here's some food. It's literally going to rain food from heaven. We're thirsty. Here's your water. Now I want to get that. Now is the covenant time. Okay, now I'm going to give my covenant. So I'm going to take the leader, and we're going to talk for a little while. A couple weeks pass. He's gone. He's dead. We need a new God. We need a new God. Make us a new God. Get a new God. Moses comes down, throws a fit, kills 3,000 of them. Guys, y'all have gotta figure this out. So we establish a new covenant. We've got instructions. We've got colors. We've got a uniform. We've got a plan, right? I'm going to deliver you into this land of milk and honey. It's going to be a paradise for you. Just need you to, and here's your rule book. Here's a very small rule book by comparison of what you need to do. And if you sin and if you do the wrong thing, here's how you fix it. Here's your code of justice. No, we're sick of the food you're giving us. We want meat. And now when they get to the place, and God, after all these things have happened, people say, why would God bring us here? We should just die in Egypt. We should just die in the wilderness. Let's just lay down and die. It's so frustrating. It's like, just wait and see what happens. Every time y'all have waited to see what happens, a glorious, great thing happens to you. And every time you screw around, Bad things happen. I give you folks the Old Testament. Then Moses and Aaron fell face down in front of the whole Israelite community assembly gathered there. Joshua son of Nun and Caleb son of Jephunneh, who were among those who had explored the land, tore their clothes and said to the entire Israelite assembly, "The land we passed through and explored is exceedingly good. If the Lord is pleased with us, he will lead us into that land, a land flowing with milk and honey, and will give it to us. Only do not rebel against the Lord, and do not be afraid of the people of the land, because we will devour them. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us." I'm sorry. Their protection is gone, but the Lord is with us. Do not be afraid of them. Again, look, here we go. There's my people, Josh and Caleb, sitting there, saying it right. Look, yeah, okay, they're great and they're giants and they're scary. We get it. But so is everything else we've faced. We faced the biggest civilization known to man at that point, crushed their army crushed before our very eyes. We've seen food just materialize. We've faced hunger and thirst, and it's all been taken care of. What else do you need to see? And everything's happening as it's been prophesied. But the whole assembly talked about stoning them. Oh, yeah, that's going to go well. Then the glory of God, of course, coming in like the cavalry. Then the glory of God appeared at the tent of meeting to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, "How long will these people treat me with contempt? How long will they refuse to believe in me, in spite of all the signs I have performed among them? I will strike them down with a plague and destroy them, but I will make you into a great nation, but I will make you into a nation greater and stronger than they." God coming down with, what's going on here? I see. Faithlessness? Okay. How about I give you a sickness and you can just die? Moses, ever the advocate for the Israelites, said to the Lord, "Then the Egyptians will hear about it. By your power you brought these people up from among them, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, Lord, are with these people, and that you, Lord, have been seen face to face, and that your cloud stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud day by day and a pillar of fire by night. If you put all these people to death, leaving none alive, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, 'The Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on oath, so he slaughtered them in the wilderness.' Now may the Lord's strength be displayed just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love and forgiving in sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation." We're going to hear about that on Thursday night, guys. "In accordance with your great love, forgive the sin of these people, just as you have pardoned them for the time they left Egypt until now." Fair enough, folks. Fair enough. So you wonder if Moses and God had planned this out and said, "This is what we're going to do," because God already knows what he's going to do and what he's not. That doesn't mean he's not highly irritated about it, but he knows what's coming, right? But what does he allow Moses to do here? Allows Moses to be the good guy, kind of be like, "Hey, God," because they're not taking Moses seriously. They're not taking God seriously either, really. But he's like, God, look, if you kill all these people, yeah, you're going to feel better about it. But then everybody who's watching, they're going to see all the great demonstration of your power, but you've already done that. But what they say is that you weren't able to keep your word, and that these people that you had chosen were so absolutely infantile and immature and ungrateful that you had to kill them. And so you don't end up coming across like the loving God, like the God that we relate to so much once we become parents. The Lord replied, "I have forgiven them, as you asked. Nevertheless, as surely as I live, and as surely as the glory of the Lord fills the whole earth, not one of those who saw my glory and the signs I performed in Egypt and in the wilderness, but who disobeyed me and tested me 10 times, not one of them will ever see the land I promised on oath to their ancestors. No one who has treated me with contempt will ever see it. But because my servant Caleb has a different spirit and follows me wholeheartedly, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Caleb. Where did Caleb come from? Judah. We've talked about Judah and Judah's line. From the line of Judah comes Christ. Caleb has a different spirit, follows me wholeheartedly. Bring him into the land that he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. Since the Amalekites and the Canaanites are living in the valleys, turn back tomorrow and set outward the desert along the route to the Red Sea. The Lord said to Moses and Aaron, how long will this wicked community grumble against me? I have heard the complaints of these grumbling Israelites, so tell them, as surely as I live, declares the Lord, I will do to you the very thing I heard you say. In this wilderness, your bodies will fall. Every one of you 20 years old or more who has counted in the census and who has grumbled against me, not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb. And Caleb, son of Jephunneh. Sorry, I'm going to say this so this rings a little bit, this rolls easier. Not one of you will enter the land I swore with uplifted hand to make your home, except Caleb and Joshua. As for your children that you said would be taken as plunder, I will bring them in to enjoy the land you have rejected. But as for you, your bodies will fall in this wilderness. Your children will be shepherds here for 40 years, suffering for your unfaithfulness, until the last of your bodies lies in the wilderness. For 40 years, 1 year for each of the 40 days you explored the land, you will suffer for your sins and know that it is what it is like to have me against you. I, the Lord, have spoken. And I will surely do these things to this whole wicked community, which is banded together against me. They will meet their end in this wilderness. Here, they will die. I still love you, guys. I still love you. You anger me so much, God's saying to Israel. You anger me so much, but I love you. And I am going to keep my word, as I said I would. But I'm not going to keep my word with you, or I'm not going to fulfill it with you. You're not going to, you've been so faithless. You don't deserve what I have promised. So you're going to do exactly what you're going to get exactly what you asked for about if only we had died in the wilderness. Now you're going to die in the wilderness. But I'm not going to take it out on your kids. You say your kids were going to be plundered? No. Your kids are going to plunder this. And they will be blessed, incredibly blessed. While all of you fall. Except for Caleb and Josh. You two are cool. You two are cool. Y'all can come in. Y'all can lead. And that's what had happened. Look at what the power of faith does. Look at what the power of faithlessness does here. You've set God against you. It's not God. God didn't decide to be against you, against the Israelites here. The Israelites decided that God was against them, or just felt in their mind like God was against them. We're going to go through this again when we hit Job. And we're going to hate as far as the idea that God is against you. It's not. God is never against you as a human being. He might be against the decisions you make or the paths you take, but he's not out. He does not want to see you fail. Not once, not ever. As certainly as you don't want to see your kids fail. So the men Moses had sent to explore the land, who returned and made the whole community grumble against him by spreading a bad report about it. These men who were responsible for spreading the bad report about the land were struck down and died of a plague before the Lord. Oh, not everybody got away with it. Of the men who went to explore the land, only Joshua and Caleb survived. When Moses reported this to all the Israelites, they mourned bitterly. Early the next morning, they set out for the highest. That must have been some, Moses is like, you guys asked for this. And so here's what we have to say. Here's the results of what y'all did last night. Early the next morning, they set out for the highest point in the hill country, saying, now we are ready to go up to the land the Lord promised. Surely we have sinned. But Moses said, "Why are you disobeying the Lord's command? This will not succeed. Do not go up, because the Lord is not with you. You will be defeated by your enemies. For the Amalekites and the Canaanites will face you there. Because you have turned away from the Lord, he will not be with you, and you will fall by the sword." Nevertheless, in their presumption, they went up toward the highest point of the hill country, though neither Moses nor the ark of the Lord's covenant moved from the camp. Then the Amalekites and the Canaanites who lived in that hill country came down and attacked them and beat them down all the way to Hormah. Well, then, bold strategy, Cotton. See how it worked out for you. Not well. So in the morning, everybody's a little upset, said some things they probably shouldn't have, reaping what they sow there, facing the music. Some of them didn't. And we see this today. Some people just don't want to accept the consequences for their actions. They don't want to take responsibility for what they have. I can screw this up and still be worthy of reward. We're not going to confuse this with what Christ gives us with salvation when we screw up. We're talking about folks who goes, I guess we sinned, yeah, but you're still going to be with us. And then Moses said, no, we're going to do what God says. We're going to wander in this wilderness because you did this. And they go, no, we got this. He'll help us out, right? He always comes through for us, right? God loves us. He's not going to let us fail. So they go up. What is that? Amalekites and the Canaanites beat them down all the way to Hormah. And that's where we'll leave tonight, because this story's not over. We go on for night, but I think 40 minutes is good enough. All right, folks. That's our stream for tonight. Hopefully your Monday's going well. My Monday's going pretty good, though I am the world's messiest eater, and you don't see it here, but I managed to get chocolate ice cream on my shirt, and I feel like a moron. So with that said, folks, tune in Wednesday night for more of Numbers. Tune in tomorrow night for Eric Rollon, my boy. He's going to be on here. We're going to talk about God. We're going to talk about pastors and how that relates. Pastors preaching their L's on the stage. Dumb things that pastors say. And with that said, I will bid you farewell. Good night, folks. And God bless. Be good out there. Love you.